Mr. Smith, please wait. I'm sorry for saying you didn't deserve Best Actor. I beg mercy!
There's that.
Keep my
Best Actor Award
out your fucking mouth!
There's that.
Hello everyone, this is Internally Screening. I'm Rupert.
I'm Adam.
And today we're going to be going over the Oscar winners and nominations, following on from our previous video where we did all the predictions for all of the categories, that people actually care about. This year they didn't actually air any of the technical awards apparently. So Dune won, I think, the most Oscars, but no one really cares or noticed that. But I mean, ultimately, before we even get into any of this, there is one thing that happened at the Oscars that really matters, and it's really it will be the thing that the Oscars are remembered for this year. It will probably be the most entertaining, bizarre, overly politicised, just most insane thing that will ever happen at an Oscars within our lifetimes. I don't think anything this dramatic is due to happen anytime soon. I hope that the Academy wasn't taking notes and think this is like how to go, ahead with future ceremonies. Just turn it into like WWE Raw with celebrities. I mean, I personally would love that.
They're like, people finally care about the Oscars again. Let's do this every year.
Yeah, I did say in the video, I was just looking forward to the controversies, and they actually delivered this year. It was no like, oh, they played someone off a bit too early, or I thought the Moonlight controversy was the
pinnacle.
Yeah, I thought that was the best we're going to get, but clearly not. They outdid themselves this year. Will Smith gets up on stage and smacks Chris Rock. There's a lot of takes about this, people underreacting and overreacting to it. What's your general vibe check on Will Smith slapping Chris Rock?
Well, I mean, it's been a little while now, so I've had time to, soak it all in and have a more measured response to it. But when it first happened, I was genuinely incensed by the amount of people defending it. Not that I don't understand the emotions going on in that moment, because, as many people who defended him said, like, oh, he's defending his wife, it's a joke in poor taste at her health, and all these things. And you can take whatever views you want on the quality of the joke and things like that. This is the first time anything of this sort has happened at the Oscars. Like, any kind of violent act has occurred between two people.
As far as we know.
As far as I'm aware. I had quite a long debate with my parents about this. They took the opposite stance to me. Like, I was very anti Will Smith and they were quite pro Will Smith. I think they were more like a sort of upset at the content of the joke that Chris Rock made. If you ask me, the whole roasting of celebrities is very much par for the course,
especially if you're sat front row. And
I'm sure it's quite a harrowing thing to go through, to suddenly have this condition and to be going through this, especially as a woman, because it's not something you would necessarily expect. Whereas if you're a bloke, you may be more, what the hair's going at some point type deal. But regardless, this is I thought it was pretty tame, in the general scheme of things. There have been a lot worse things said. The same ceremony, Amy Schumer made a joke Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal's expense, implying that they were in a incestuous relationship. And all Jake Gyllenhaal does is go, that's how you respond to it. You go, that wasn't funny, move on.
To me, I don't know how you can watch the clip and come away thinking anything other than Will Smith looks really pathetic and sort of impotent in that moment. It looks really sad. It's what everyone says, right? Everyone has made the same points. He laughs at the joke. And it looks like a genuine laugh to me. I mean, obviously, this ultimately comes down to people seeing a video clip and reading it different ways. And at the end of the day, we can go in circles with that. But it looks to me like he laughs at the joke. We don't see what happens. Chris Rock sort of laughs and clearly reads a change in Will Smith that we don't get to see. And then he's up on stage, smacks him, and then it's the shouting in the audience, which is really weird, because it almost looks like a stage moment, and then you hear him shouting in the crowd, and it's just really uncomfortable, because people kind of laugh and go, ooh, on the first time he shouts it, and then the second time he says, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. It is dead silent in that room. So I think people claiming it's stage are just completely wrong.
I can't imagine
Will Smith and Chris Rock are not that good actors.
No. But it's also like people say that sort of cynical shit at a lot of these things, as though they're trying to debunk some wild conspiracy, like they're super clever. But if you take a moment to even consider it, who the fuck is it benefiting, other than maybe the Oscars for causing drama? And even then, a lot of people have said negative things towards the Oscars, like this is the only reason that anyone would watch the Oscars. It's a dying format, blah blah blah. This completely neutered any warmth and celebration that there would have been around Will Smith's first Best Actor.
I also
win.
feel bad for Questlove, who won Best Documentary
exactly,
immediately after.
Yeah, because that's what the award was for, right? And it completely derailed the evening in terms of the public reaction afterwards. And Will Smith finally wins it, and he's completely sullied the whole.
It is going to make for an amazing film where you have a man who generates all this like mainstream success from his charisma and his character, decides he wants to get critical fame as well, absolutely stacks his career over the course of 15 years, finally gets there, and then drops it all through an unforced error in the last moment.
I mean,
for no reason. It's going to make a brilliant biopic.
It reminds me a bit of Bradley Cooper's Star Wars Born.
Yeah, it really did have that vibe.
Because that has the whole bit where he goes and humiliates himself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that's what it comes to. When I watch that clip, I can't see it as anything other than Will Smith humiliates himself. Chris Rock makes a cruel but ultimately like really G.I. Jane. It's not a very funny joke. Like it's a mean joke that did not really require that level of force.
Yeah. In terms of the joke, I think it's a terrible joke.
It's really not funny.
It's a dated reference. It's forced. But we're also assuming he wrote the fucking thing.
Oh no, he didn't. It's been confirmed he didn't write it.
He didn't write it. Exactly. Okay, good.
But
okay.
he still read it, so I guess there's a level of responsibility there.
Yeah, true. But it's like, you get handed this shit. No one has ever experienced this before at the Oscars. It's unprecedented.
Yeah.
So it's like, why? It's just for the bit.
Yeah.
I get it. It is in poor taste, but that's kind of also the part.
The Oscars is in poor taste.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm trying to say is basically like, it is bad when people are saying like, oh, this is the ugliest Oscars moment. People like says, right, so like obviously Harvey Weinstein has won like 3 Academy Awards. That's pretty ugly. And Roman Polanski got a standing ovation for winning The Pianist, which, this is post sex crimes and post, everybody knew about it.
Post everyone signing that fucking petition to get him sent.
Yeah, like Christ, like Martin Scorsese, people who I really respect giving him a standing ovation I would probably rank those much higher. And there have been some really cringe reaction to this, like over-egging it. I don't really think we can. I think anybody who's like pro Will Smith in this situation is either someone who just lives online and it would be like someone who's like, oh, I would do that for my wife. If you say that, you don't have a wife, you never will. So shut the fuck up, please, and spare everyone your diatribe about how you would like to defend your woman who doesn't exist. But like, at the end of the day, it's just funny content, and they both apologise to each other now.
Right, and I think it's important to not delve too much into the hypothesizing about people's
intentions,
or like the behind the scenes stuff, because you see a lot of stuff about Will Smith and his wife, because obviously that was very public a few years back about the open marriage and whatever. But if you ask me, I think Will Smith seems kind of upset. I think there's something a little bit
big chip on his shoulder.
No, I
think he does.
I mean, maybe.
Again,
then what celebrity doesn't in Hollywood?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing for me was, I don't know. His public appearances recently, he seemed more and more like vacant.
He's like visibly
again,
aged
this is complete like conjecture, and feel free to completely disregard everything I say. But yeah, like, I don't think that's the action of a guy that's in like a mentally well place. No. I understand that frustration and that anger. We all feel that kind of stuff, especially if our like loved ones are being like targeted or whatever. But it did strike me as kind of unhinged and a little bit like, there was a kind of wide-eyed craziness to it, especially when they cut back to him swearing and stuff like that. I do think it's insane that he has now quit the Academy.
I mean, he's got all he wanted, right?
Yeah, he got his award. I guess he's not going to get
I think all the talks of rescinding his Oscar is probably a bit much. I mean, I guess people are saying, oh, well, all this other bad stuff's happened at the Academy. Generally speaking, it doesn't happen at the ceremony. Will Smith was at a ceremony and was violent to someone.
And it was on like the main fucking camera.
Yeah, and that is more against the rules than someone doing something bad outside the ceremony. That's a bit of a complicated discussion, I do
morally see, it's all over the place, but it's
but like, if you're running a show,
it's all about the Academy saving face, realistically, and this is the most sort of high profile dropping the ball they've had in a while.
I mean, you have to remember, the real tragedy here is next year we're going to have to endure so many jokes at the Oscars about this, and it's going to be ruined. So enjoy this.
I mean,
while
I
you
hope
can.
that Chris Rock puts out a dope comedy special after this, but
Can't wait.
I mean, if that's trash, then it's a loss on all angles, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Should we get into winners and losers?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go.
Right. So animated feature. We both predicted Encanto. Encanto won. I'm not surprised.
No.
I don't know what
I don't have much to say on that.
We did. It was nice to see Disney briefly lose the monopoly on best animated feature category. They normally just own. I think they just dominate that pretty much every year because the Spider-Verse won.
Oh yeah, true.
So that was nice, and I think DreamWorks and I think maybe Aardman have won
A handful.
2 or 3 between them. But generally
Chicken
speaking,
Run win once.
Chicken Run was. I think Chicken Run didn't win. I think Chicken Run.
Did it not?
Fact check this, but I think Chicken Run genuinely, and I've read this somewhere, was part of the reason it was introduced as a category in the early 2000s,
and then
because
I
it
think
didn't win anything.
Shrek
was the first.
That's it.
Shrek was the first winner. So, yeah, I guess. I mean, I said what I wanted to say about Encanto. I don't think it's a brilliant film, but
it's
I'm not
a
surprised to see it win.
decent addition to the Disney canon, and that's about it.
I do think it's quite sad to see. I think the lack of appreciation adult animated films like Flea get is really heartbreaking to me because I love animation and there are so many great adult animated films that never get a look in, like Mary and Max or Persepolis or Anomalisa, which just obviously got snubbed because probably none of them fucking watched it. It sucks to me to see these great artistic passion project films get kind of swept under the rug for yet another. And there's nothing wrong with Pixar or Disney, of course, but I think particularly Pixar, their output has declined in quality.
Yeah, and I think the formula is just really tired. Much with the same with Marvel. You very much know what you're getting yourself in for, and sometimes it's fine. Sometimes it's just my take on Encanto is very much of that. It's like getting a fucking Five Guys burger.
It feels like a product.
It's like, oh, it tastes good, but it's the same thing every single time, and there's no real variation. The menu is the same, and you can change a couple of ingredients here and there, but ultimately what you're getting is a big sweaty burger.
It does feel like a product.
Yeah.
So that was a shame. So for the next one, we have adapted screenplay. We both predicted Coda, and we were both right.
Fuck yeah! I'll take that. I'm quite happy with that.
I think we done well there because there was this was one of the, I guess, sort of harder to guess categories that we had here. Is a nice screenplay. So Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter and Power of the Dog were also nominated for that category. It would have been cool to see Dune win. Obviously Drive My Car probably deserved it in this category, but
I mean, in terms of being one of the best pictures in this whole Oscars, I would have liked to have seen Drive My Car win as much as it could have. Really. But seeing Coda get its shine, and we'll get on to the other things it won, but I'm happy. But this was one of those strange categories where I wouldn't have been too unhappy if any of it won, really.
I mean, I liked Coda just fine. I do think that they went for a very safe option. It's nice to see a sweet little film like Coda that doesn't feel overly baity. I guess I know there's been, on film Twitter, there's been a lot of Coda hate. And I kind of get it because it is a very safe TV-ish film. Yeah,
it's not very sort of artistic, which I guess a lot of people would look for, especially if they
But to me, it doesn't feel like Oscar bait, which is why I really
it feels more genuine.
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me that much. I do think it's probably out of those, probably
one of the weaker ones.
I mean,
I think plot-wise, very bland and generic, but in terms of the actual screenplay and the character dynamics and all of that,
how quality is the screenplay though?
I don't know. Maybe that is it. Maybe the acting does elevate it. I mean, I think there's a talent and testament to the way it's all orchestrated and stuff. Maybe that's all down to direction as well.
I think the big thing that's disappointing about this is the screenplay is kind of the structure of the film, and the structure and progression of the film is probably the most generic and boring thing about that film. Yeah. So I guess that is a bit disappointing, but we did guess it right. Yeah. So that's good.
Take it.
Original screenplay, we both guessed Belfast. Yeah. Lo and behold, it won. Kenneth Branagh. I think this might be his first Oscar.
People were going on about it, like it was a real big deal.
I don't really feel like he's been owed one up until this point. I mean, he's a great actor.
I haven't seen any of his sort of classic output from the 90s and a lot of his old school Shakespeare stuff. So I can't really comment on that. But in terms of more modern output, fuck no. What's he put out?
I mean, look, Don't Look Up didn't win.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, so I'm glad.
Did it win anything?
No, it didn't win
Thank
anything.
the sweet,
I know.
sweet Lord.
So we can thank our lucky stars there. It's a shame that the worst person in the world.
Yeah, no, deserved that shit.
It was never going to win, which is why we predicted Belfast.
No.
And I think the fact that it's written by Kenneth Branagh kind of had that one nailed on.
Yeah.
So that's a bit disappointing, but people like Belfast for some reason. Right, best original score. Hans Zimmer wins his first Oscar for Dune. I guessed Dune, you guessed Encanto.
Fuck.
But I'm glad that Hans Zimmer won. I know a lot of people don't rate that score. I think it's a good score.
I think, if I recall correctly, in our previous video, I said I wanted it to win, but didn't think it would.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for that. I predicted more cynically and got it wrong. But yeah, I don't understand the hate. I've seen the reviews or I've seen some reviews of people going in on that soundtrack saying, "Oh, it's like dog shit, fucking noise." I don't understand it.
It's bombastic, but I don't.
I rewatched the film the other day, and it is quite dominant. It's like doesn't really it kind of
and it is
takes up a lot of
Zimmerish.
runtime. Yeah, but I think it fits perfectly. And I think I love the kind of warping of traditional sounding like drums and things like that, but then sort of morphed into like a kind of alien context. It feels familiar but unfamiliar, and that's like a really crucial thing in like building like a kind of unique.
It feels
world.
very alien, and it also like if you just listen to some of these tracks by themselves, it's one of those scores where sure, like not every song's going to be like a banger. It's not structured like an album that you listen to, but the core like melodies and progressions of the songs are really dramatic and involving, even if you're not watching the film.
They're very evocative.
There's a few, I can't remember the names of the tracks. Something in the Sand is I can't remember what it's called, but it's a really good track, and you can listen to it almost like just a piece of classical / electronic music.
But it like takes you to the scenes
and
it's
like,
in and shit
and
like
something that I just enjoy. I know this is probably really basic. It's just my dumb monkey brain, but Hans Zimmer does really cool stuff with how he like builds and escalates a track, almost sort of like a post-rock song. There's a really interesting thing about the soundtrack he did for Dunkirk.
Oh,
and how
yeah.
that soundtrack sounds like it's
that
constantly
weird scale. I forget what it's called.
And there's some sort of moments in the Dune soundtrack where it's sort of just building and building, and it feels so intense. I guess you could call it obvious, but I'm happy with that. Right, so next one was Best International Film. We both guessed Drive My Car, and Drive My Car won. And
it was our pick in terms of what we wanted. So I mean, happy all round on this one. I mean, again, worst person in the world would have liked to get some shine on it, but Drive My Car was just about the better film. I think
it is just a very, very good film.
Yeah,
there's really not much to say.
A very subtle but like meditative film.
I think it was sort of pinned on to win. It is just a great film. And I hope more films like this get nominated in more categories again. I get it's nice to see it nominated for Best Picture, because I feel like normally that doesn't happen. Yeah. So hopefully we can have another Parasite moment, but wasn't to be, and I don't think this was the film. This isn't a film. At the end of the day, Drive My Car is not a film for everyone, and that's fine. No. It is, maybe a bit of an acquired taste. Yeah, but I mean, it's more patience testing than something like Parasite. Parasite is a very immediate kind of quality. It's a banger.
Yeah, you can show that to.
I wouldn't describe Drive My Car as a banger.
I've shown Parasite to people that have never watched, a single Korean film or very few foreign films in general, and they were like, I get it. I understand everything that's going on. It like immediately clicks with me. A lot of the humour lands for people with that film as well. Drive My Car is very much a quiet, pensive film.
Probably the kind of film that's best watched like by yourself as well. Yeah, like sat in a dark room,
and then you just
weeping.
and then you just kind of vegetate afterwards. Like, what does life even fucking mean?
Best editing. So I picked Tick Tick Boom. You picked Don't Look Up, and we were both wrong. It was won by Dune, which
is fantastic.
Yeah, did we even really discuss that as a contender?
I think briefly, but not in much depth.
I mean, I'm really happy Dune won. The editing is great in that film. The sound editing as well, which I think it won the award for. Also, the sound editing in that film is immaculate.
I mean, on a technical level, Dune was pretty much like
deserved the sweep.
Oh yeah, 100%. Which, as we said, it's a shame that it doesn't really get any recognition for that because of the way they just dumped it all out in a different award ceremony. But no, I only predicted Don't Look Up because I was like, if Don't Look Up's going to win anything, it'd be this, and it'd be funny if it won the thing it was worst at doing.
I was really worried you were going to be right about that, and I'm really relieved you weren't, because it's the kind of obvious dumb shit.
Yeah.
The Oscar voters want
I was
to do.
literally purely going off of the Bohemian Rhapsody thing.
That's
all I was.
Still such a fucking travesty. I mean, Tick Tick Boom didn't win anything, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset by that, but I'm surprised.
Yes,
because I think it did at least deserve something.
this league's better than Don't Look Up. So yeah, right on to Best Director. We both directed Jane Campion. We both predicted Jane Campion, and Jane Campion did win.
It was. I feel like we knew it was obvious at the time, and then in hindsight, it's even more obvious.
Yeah.
It's simple. They were just honouring stalwart.
I don't know what Paul Thomas Anderson has to do to get a Best Director
Has
win.
he still not got one?
No. I don't know what he has to do.
Yeah, but he was never going to.
He was never going to win it for Licorice Pizza, but
if you're not going to win it for There Will Be Blood,
I don't want him to lose it and then they give him the win for something bad that he does. I don't think he'll ever become bad, but that's like now a
a
possibility.
bit of a consolation prize.
Yeah, I don't
like
want
the old,
that.
like Leo winning for The Revenant instead of Wolf of Wall Street and that.
I mean, I guess it's nice, this is, I think Jane Campion's this is 2 years in a row running where we've had a woman win Best Director.
Okay.
Because I think it was Chloe Zhao last year.
Yeah.
And then before that, it was literally just Catherine Bigelow who won for Zero Dark 30, which is a really weird film to win Best Picture for. But, I think it was deserved here. I would have liked, obviously Ryosuke Hamaguchi, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson deserved one. And Spielberg, he's already got a few, but yeah, man, he did a great job with West Side Story.
Yeah.
This was again a very tight category.
Yeah. Happy that Jane Campion's been thrown some shine. I should really take a step back and watch some, of her
I
older
need to watch
stuff.
her classics.
Yeah,
because I've not seen them. But yeah, nice for her. Wouldn't have been what I would have gone for personally, but I think fair to say it was deserved, and we did get it right. Best cinematography, I predicted West Side Story, you predicted Dune, and Dune won.
Fuck yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was wrong, but thank God I was wrong, because, to be fair, West Side Story does have beautiful cinematography, but I would have rather Dune won.
Yeah. So it's sort of smiles all around, really.
Yeah.
Like we said before, Dune is just...
it's just a gorgeous piece of technical excellence, that film.
The Tragedy at Macbeth was nominated for this.
It was.
One,
that should have
been. That was the one I did want.
It was never going to win, was it?
But I also just think that Denis Villeneuve has such a knack nowadays for making the most gorgeous sci-fi films, and I think he's set like a new standard. In the way that weirdly he's done it with another Blade Runner film where Ridley Scott kind of first did it with a Blade Runner film where he kind of reimagined the whole landscape of what sci-fi looked like. Now Denis Villeneuve and the people surrounding him have done the same thing, so I think there needs to be commendation for that.
Well, he's also a very under-nominated bloke, because he has been so consistent, hit after hit after hit.
He's one of the
not
best.
hit as in like commercial, but everything he puts out is straight fire. And he is already I think he's probably one of the younger nominees here.
Is he?
Probably, yeah. And he's owed one already.
Yeah.
So credit to Denis. I'm glad he won. Credit to Greig Fraser. Dune is, as far as, like I said in the previous video, watching Dune in the cinema was just a fucking treat. So
it was, and I mean,
him.
just sad that Tragedy at Macbeth hasn't gotten enough recognition it deserved, particularly for being beautiful. Yeah,
definitely. Our next category is Best Supporting Actress. I guessed Ingenue Ellis, and you guessed Kirsten Dunst, and we were both completely wrong. We didn't even discuss Ariana DeBose, who won. We didn't even think she was in with a shot. I mean, she's very good in West Side Story,
she's decent.
Probably, I would say she was better than Andrew Ellis in general as a performance. Maybe, I don't know actually.
I don't know. I guess another category of things where I don't really have particularly strong opinions separating them all. I think they all did decent jobs with their respective field. I think Ariana DeBose has more screen time and more chance to,
good dancing as well.
Some fantastic sequences there as well. Not to be too cynical, she does have a kind of Oscars element to her pick that could have swayed things.
Maybe.
Because she had,
I mean, did anyone know she? I know. So basically, it's a bit historic because she's the first woman of color queer person. But did anybody really know that?
I don't know. I don't know. That's more my cynical brain going, why did people win Oscars? It's because the Oscars want to be seen to be good.
I mean, her speech was very sweet. I'm happy for her. But,
no, I'm not to take anything away from her. With the Oscars, you have to put your cynical hat on and go.
As a racist, I would have picked Jessie Buckley, the white woman. Just because, I thought she was better. you know. But Ariana DeBose is genuinely deserved. I just really didn't think that. I mean, again, because it was actually a pretty fucking tough category to pick. It was hard. So, you know, congratulations to her. Not really my pick, but I'm not mad about it. And I think Jessie Buckley, I think she's going to win Best Actress at some point. So she probably
And again, it was a weird film for Jessie Buckley as well.
Yeah,
it's
very
like,
odd. Yeah. I mean, she was never going to win.
It's a sort of film I'm surprised is even in consideration.
Yeah, I don't really know how it got into that. I mean, I'm glad for Maggie Gyllenhaal and Olivia Colman. And
maybe that's it. Maybe it's because Maggie Gyllenhaal directed.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's got lots of links, and obviously Olivia Colman is now sort of seems to be Oscar royalty. She's getting nominated constantly. So
her last 3 big roles, she's been nominated for Best Actress for all 3 of them.
Yeah, best supporting for these 2. Yeah, but she wasn't. No, sorry. Yeah, so it was Best Supporting for. The father. Yeah, and Best Actress this year. But yeah, shout out to Ariana DeBose. Best Supporting Actor, we both went Kieran Hines and Troy Kotsur. I think that's how you say his name. Kotsur. Yeah, he won the deaf father in Coda, and I think that was probably the right pick.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm very happy with that pick. I'm very sorry I talked you out of picking him.
I was going to pick him, and then Adam changed my mind.
Because I just thought, again, cynical. I was like, oh, Belfast's going to win a shitload of stuff. So
Kieran Hines is owed one.
Yeah, Kieran Hines is a great actor, and he is great in Belfast. He's my favourite thing in that film by a long stretch. But no, Troy Kotsur definitely massively deserved it.
He elevates.
He's my favourite part of that film as well. He's so charismatic. He's so funny.
Yeah,
like he's
it's the kind of pick you could be cynical about, like, oh, they gave it to him because he's deaf, but like in this
case, if you watch his performance,
he probably,
you go,
straight up deserved it. He was like, he's the sort of core of that film to me. He's like the funniest character. He has probably like the most heartwarming moments in the film, and in a film that's completely based around being heartwarming, basically. And he doesn't feel like a classic kind of trope character to me.
No.
He feels like a very unique character, and I really hope to see him in more stuff. Really interested. I know
That'd be awesome.
The Sound of Metal got pretty. I think it got nominated for a few things, but it was pretty snubbed. And there were some deaf actors in that film that were fantastic, that maybe should have got some shine. So I really hope we see more of that.
Maybe that is what this film can do for the deaf community. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So up next, another interesting category. We had Best Leading Actress. I guessed Jessica Chastain, and you guessed Nicole Kidman. And Jessica Chastain won.
Yeah, we had this one was one of our more heated debates, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because crucially we discussed the Oscar moment.
Yeah.
And I remember you asking me. I asked you, "What's Jessica Chastain's Oscar moment?" And you were able to answer it quite quickly. And then you asked me the same question. I could not, for the life of me, think of it. And
I don't know why you had your heart set on
that moment. Well, I think I was just trying to be a bit of a, contrarian, to be honest. But Jessica Chastain or Nicole Kidman were like in my head. It's like, right, they're biopics. That means they're like, they're in. Normally, if it was just the one biopic, I'd know. Like that's it. But because one was an acting-based biopic and one was like a weird Christian
I see
thing.
Your logic there, actually.
I just kind of lent more in Nicole Kidman's favour, and again she's won a few, hasn't she? I
think she's won. I think Nicole Kidman's won Best Actress.
Right. Okay.
For the years, which I haven't seen.
But she's just kind of like a Hollywood regular, an Oscars regular. Like a lot of the stuff she stars in turns gold, so it's like
she's a great actress.
Yeah, it just made sense to me. But I'm glad Jessica Chastain's got one. Has she won before? No. Oh, well, I'm happy for her because again, she's someone who's been.
I mean, I'm always going to be disappointed when Olivia Colman's nominated and doesn't win. I think Jessica Chastain is probably the second least worst option here. You know what? Her performance is kind of hard to pin down. It's the kind of acting that I think is sort of very viscerally impressive. But in terms of interesting me personally, I don't find it very interesting. Right. It doesn't really have much depth to it. It's mostly her sort of doing an impression of this historical figure.
Yeah.
And it's almost certainly partly down to the script that she's reading lines from as well. But there isn't much depth to it for me. And all of the most powerful moments of that film, of a film that's not very good, by the way, are literal recreations of television footage. When it comes to acting, what impresses me more than anything is like an actor's ability to convey a level of depth if you're going to do like a raw performance, it has to be better than just doing an impression.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to just do like a raw, visceral performance, it has to be more than just an impression. Whereas,
it doesn't feel like we got much more than that surface level from that film.
Whereas Olivia Colman gave a lot of depth, and if you watch the clip they play from The Lost Daughter, it's honestly like she is unreal in that film. I actually want to go back and rewatch The Lost Daughter just to appreciate that one clip again, because it's unbelievable, to be honest, how good she is in that film.
I abandoned them and I didn't see them for 3 years.
You didn't see your children for 3 years.
No.
Who took care of them?
Their father and my mum, and then I came back for them.
What did it feel like without them?
Felt amazing.
But I guess Jessica Chastain is a good actress.
I mean, yeah, she's
not like amazing though, is she?
the thing. What with this one was, the person I wanted to win was so clearly never going to win.
Yeah.
I'm kind of not that mad that they didn't.
I am glad it's not Nicole Kidman, because being the Ricardos was trash. But
I thought both of them were quite trash. In fact, I preferred being the Ricardos for being like less boring.
Oh, really?
I thought they were pretty mediocre.
I think
films.
I appreciated The Eyes of Tammy Faye for being a bit more formulaic, because it helped me get through it. Like, I knew what was going to happen.
I mean, Jessica Chastain was, again, the best part of that film, as many of these actors have been, but best part of a mediocre film doesn't really say a huge amount. She's not rescuing it, and again, she bought more of an impersonation than it is a performance. But worst performances have won. I'm not that upset.
Shout out to Penelope Cruz as well. She was never in with a chance, but I thought she was very good, and people are only going to really remember her in this category because Chris Rock briefly makes a joke about her and about them before getting smacked by Will Smith. So that's sad times. Right, on to Best Leading Actor.
Ooh.
I predicted Will Smith. You predicted Andrew Garfield.
I don't know why I did that.
Will Smith obviously won, as we discussed. Probably one of the funniest things to happen. For him to win it after doing
the only thing that makes that evening funnier from the slap is the win.
And I've also read that he apparently was told to leave and refused to. So could you imagine if they announced him as Best Actor and then
he wasn't there?
I don't know, does Jada go up to accept it?
Oh my god, that would have been
How
so
awkward would that have
awkward.
been?
Oh my god.
Like, so weird.
They just put it in a FedEx box and mail it to
And you
town.
called him unhinged earlier. His speech was genuinely one of the most unhinged things I've
that's
seen.
another part of it,
Yeah,
he
like,
seems really kind of...
the weeping and the weird, like, sort of religious proclamations of I'm a vessel for love, and I'm sorry to the Academy, and I'm sorry to my fellow nominees, not Chris Rock. So weird. I like that likable persona,
and the whole like sorry not sorry thing where he was like, oh yeah, but I did it to protect my family or whatever. I mean,
in a way I'm happy for him. Obviously he's worked really hard, and his performance in King Richard was probably one of the better things he's done in terms of acting quality, because generally speaking up until now that's not really what we've judged Will Smith
he's
never
just
really
pure
been
charisma and
I do think this instant has kind of dropped the veil of this likeable persona he's built up a bit, sadly, but in a way I'm happy for him. I'm also just glad in terms of drama that he won, because
it's
poetic.
It's too comical, really, for its own good.
It's amazing. You couldn't write it.
No,
it would be ridiculous if you wrote it. And yet it happened. So
you'd get laughed out of the Netflix offices.
I don't know. They've got pretty low standards. And right, finally, Best Picture.
Okay.
I predicted Belfast. You predicted Belfast, and Coda won,
which was lovely.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not Belfast.
I remember
Don't Look Up.
We were fucking thank God it was Don't Look Up. Thank God Don't Look Up didn't get a single nod or shout out. Or
and I'm also glad it wasn't King Richard.
Yeah. I mean, King Richard was so blatantly Oscar bait. It kind of hurt. But
we also just wasn't a very good film in terms of like filmmaking. It's like a nice film, but it's not like a bad film. It's just like, it does feel like if you fed the Venus and Serena story into an AI that would, make a film about that, it would come up with King Richard. Whereas Coda does actually have some sort of heart and passion behind it. Whereas it does feel like King Richard was like the let's get Will Smith an Oscar project.
Yes, 100%. When we were discussing it, we talked about how Belfast and King Richard were like the two front runners because they were normal films, and then you came in and said, well, actually, Coda could easily slot in as like the kind of third contender for that.
Yeah, because it's ranked choice.
Yeah, Exactly. So it's pleasant to everyone.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it was anyone's top pick, as we said before. It certainly wouldn't have been mine.
No.
But happy it won because it was just nice.
Yeah.
It was just like a really heartwarming, as we've said before, in a genuine kind of way, where it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like it was pandering to any kind of audience. It more just felt like, you know, a retelling of a classic coming of age story, but in a very different context that, you know, a lot of people won't be, you know, familiar with.
Yeah.
So I think that's very powerful.
Yeah. I mean, I know loads of people are really mad about Coda winning. I can't be that mad.
People need to get out more if they're like that fucking mad about such a sweet film winning as well.
I mean,
I'd get it if it was Belfast, because that's not sweet. That's fake sweet.
Yeah.
If someone came up to me, which is just me being a fucking massive hypocrite, I don't give a fuck. Belfast to me felt like
Belfast was Oscar,
because in my head those are the two sides of the same coin in terms of people loving Belfast critically and, you know, audience wise for being it's like a really sweet tale of like a family, but realistically I thought it was like a really paper thin portrayal of what could have been a harrowing sort of journey into a man's troubled upbringing.
And or at least have some depth to it. It doesn't have to be like you know.
I mean, he can make whatever film he wants about his upbringing, but the thing
doesn't have to be Ingmar Bergman. It could have just had a bit of depth.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't feel like I got any kind of like true insight into this world other than it's bad here. And
isn't war terrible?
Yeah, it was quite violent. And my family need to get out, but we don't want to be Irish in England. Like, it just felt really ironically disingenuous for a film that was about his real life experiences.
I think ultimately what Belfast lacks as a film is like any form of real life confrontation. The film sort of musters up these bad guys, the riot starters and the sort of Irish gangs, which feel fully made up. They're not interesting. Their motivation almost makes no sense. They're like comically villainous. It doesn't really question British imperial rule in Ireland, which is mental, and it doesn't question like the religious attitudes of Ireland at the time, which is also
outside
mental.
of like a couple of bits at the beginning,
like
where
here and there, like for laughs, right? Whereas Coda, whilst it's actually much more subtle than Belfast for a start, but it actually does kind of confront the issue that deaf people face, and the, you know, this specific rural area of America that relies on fishing face. It actually, even if it's not like the most deep thing ever, it actually has issues, social issues that it's kind of addressing and pointing out and saying, you know, look how differently these people are treated, you know, despite, you know, these certain circumstances they're handed. So for that reason, I'm not really that mad about Coda winning. Did it deserve to win? I don't really think so.
But then again, this category outside of Drive My Car, which was never going to win. June. But again, the films I wanted to win, I knew were never going to win. A foreign film's not going to win again. Not one as weird as Drive My Car. And
I don't even know why Nightmare Alley was included.
I mean, just chuck one.
I enjoyed it, but why is it there? It's not nominated for anything else. It was never going to win. No, it's not. I mean, it might have a couple of technical awards, but that's like, really outside
weird.
of the big ones, it's really weird. I don't know why it's chucked in there.
No, I mean,
it wins the Guillermo del Toro award
for being weird. I guess that's the thing. Guillermo just has such a distinctive aesthetic that people, even if it's one of his more middling projects, people go, "Oh, it's so different."
Yeah. And now he's won For the Shape of Water. He's like, I guess he's like an Academy regular now. But so it's nice to see him included. But yeah, I mean, I'm ultimately, I just can't. I don't care. I don't care that Coda won.
No,
it's fine. I would have rather Dune or, you know, Licorice Pizza or something won, but they never were. And they didn't nominate Macbeth.
No, that would have been the one I would have been championing all the way. But again, it wasn't going to.
It was just never stood a chance because it was a real film. Yeah.
I mean, this year, having watched, you know, more Oscar films this year than I've ever watched in a given year, I really wasn't that excited by much on display here. There
was not much to root for.
There's a handful of films here where I was really like, oh, those were great. But this is supposed to be the best of the year.
I think the overall quality of films was pretty good. like it was
it
mostly
wasn't
above
much,
average.
There
films.
wasn't much that was like through the fucking floor.
There was less like straight average stuff. There were like a few duds. There always are some like bad generic films that get nominated, but I think generally the quality of films this year was quite high.
Yeah.
With some standouts like June, like Tragedy of Macbeth, like Drive My Car, like Worst Person in the World, and ultimately there were some interesting wins. There were some funny moments. And I guess there just wasn't really much to root for. There was no like real standout for me to get invested in. Like there was with Parasite, like the most or Olivia Colman in The Favourite.
Right, there's like enjoying something and then there's connecting with it. And I thought, in terms of the list of stuff I really connected with, that's even shorter. There's
it's just
like
the international feature stuff.
Probably 3 films I really like properly was like 4 films. I think for my money,
international feature is still the best category every year.
Because that's the risky one. They know no one gives a fuck about international pictures, so they actually pick good fucking films. But for my money, there are 4 brilliant films this year. There was Dune, there was The Worst Person in the World, Drive My Car, and The Tragedy of Macbeth. I think everything. I think everything other than that was either decent, good, like sort of good to mediocre. And I think very little apart
Don't Look
from
Up, which is terrible.
Don't Look Up. You can fuck off. But like everything else, kind of fell into that kind of middling to not very interesting category,
which is the Oscars. So
I guess that's what I've just discovered. Given this my first proper year delving into it, I understand why people tune out to this shit.
So at the end, I got 8 out of the 13 guesses. You got 6. So better luck next year, mate.
Drinks are on me next night out, I guess.
I think we did pretty well overall.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. When I saw the list initially, I'd forgotten what I'd said, so I was like, oh god.
Yeah, no, pretty good results from us. I think there were some really obvious ones this year, but I think we did well on a couple of the ones that were harder to guess. Particularly the screenplay ones we did well on. I mean, there's always shoo-ins every year, like animated feature, you're never going to get that wrong if you've got half a brain. But I think we did all right.
The actress ones I was supporting. Those are the ones that
we really dropped the ball there with Ariana DeBose. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. We've been internally screening. We've got loads of videos coming out. Subscribe. If you like the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. We've got reactions, podcasts, sloppy sequels coming up, all kinds of good shit. But until then, if you just care about the Oscars, we'll see you next year, baby. So peace. What's up, everyone? It's internally. I was like, let's go in hard. And I was like, what's up, everybody? Why did I just say that? Oh, God. That's horrendous.
I'm putting that at the end of the video.